Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Art 204. We are basic drawing class. I love teaching this class. I haven't gotten to teach it in a while. I've been busy doing the art appreciation and the contemporary visual arts and culture class, but this is a course that I developed and I've had really good feedback on it so far. It's a really fun class to teach. So this is going to be just a little introduction into the course, and then each week there's going to be a video introduction that just, for you oral and visual learners, it gives you just a little more insight into what we're going to be doing. Make sure that you watch these because I'll give extra kind of tips and insights into assignments sometimes. So they're important, and I always try to keep them for each week around 10 minutes or so. Sometimes they may be a little shorter, sometimes they maybe go a little longer. It just depends on the material. This one is an overview of the course, so it may go a little over 10 minutes. We'll just have to see how it goes. Before I dive too much into the class, I like to give students a little insight into me and who I am. My name is Emily Boss, B-O-S, so you'll see my email is eboss@calbaptist.edu. So my last name isn't Ebbs, E-B-O-S, it's E for Emily, B for Boss. You think I wouldn't have to explain it, but for some reason I often get students emailing me, calling me Mrs. E-B-O-S, Ebbs, and I'm like, nope, it's just Boss. So here I am. I give a face to a name. This picture is a couple of years old, but I don't look much different now. I was born and raised in Orange, California. I went to Villa Park High School. I went after that to the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising, where I did a degree in interior design, and I worked in the design industry for several years, and in the midst of that decided that I wanted to further my education, so I went to Cal State Fullerton and received a bachelor's degree in art history. And my last year of college, got married, and a year and a half later my husband and I moved to England, where I did my master's degree in art history at the University of Nottingham. And great experience, got to do a lot of traveling, see a lot of really cool art and really cool spaces. And art's always been a passion of mine, so kind of tying the creative ends together of design and art have always been kind of where my career path has laid. I've been teaching here at CBU. I'm coming up on my 4th anniversary in about 5 days or so of teaching with the university. I love working here. I think the online program is just outstanding, and seeing how it's grown even just in the last 4 years has been super cool. About almost a year and a half ago or so, my husband and I, and here we are, here's Johnny, my husband, and our 2 dogs. This is Alfie and this is Pip. We moved to Nashville, Tennessee, so that's where we live now. Quite different than Southern California, but we absolutely love it. I had to give up a teaching job at Cal State Fullerton, where I taught for several years, to move out here, but got to keep teaching here at CBU, which I really love, and so that's been a cool opportunity for me, and we love it here in the South. We had a quite interesting winter, lots of snow, and so again, very different than Orange County, but we like being here. It's been a really cool opportunity, and God has done a lot of great stuff for us. So just keep that in mind, and I'll go over this again, that I'm a couple hours ahead of you when you want to communicate with me. But yeah, that gives you a little insight into who I am. My specialty has always been modern and contemporary art, and then teaching, and I just adore teaching. My husband and I are launching our own interior design company this year, so getting back into that end as well. So we're quite busy, but we're very passionate about the arts, and this class I hope you will really enjoy. So let's go ahead and dive in. I know that some of you are new to CBU or new to online classes, and so make sure that you take some time to kind of browse through Blackboard. There's some tools and student resources, so if you're new, I would definitely click on the Student Resources tab, and that'll take you to where your course evaluations are. It'll take you to the library, support services, technological help, all that good stuff on how we work here at the university. But Blackboard's a really cool program, and I think this course is set up pretty well, kind of streamlined to get you, through the material pretty easily. So this Learning Activities tab and Syllabus tab are going to be your best friends, and then if you go to your grading page as well. You want to make sure that you're able to view your grades. And I know that my page sometimes looks a little bit different than yours as an instructor, but all the information will be the same. So let's go ahead and take a look at the syllabus. And that way we can see what we're going to be doing through this class. So again, we're Art 204. This is a course. This course, is one of the foundation courses that develop the perceptual and technical skills for effective drawing. It presents drawing as an essential tool for visual expression. It may be repeated for credit. This course is also recommended for general education. So I'm not sure what all of you are taking this for. Usually it ends up being a GE class, but it's a really fun class, but it's a lot of work. So be prepared to be drawing. Okay, our course week begins on a Monday and ends on a Sunday. So today is the first day of class. Your assignments are always going to be due on Sunday nights at midnight, and I'll go over that a little more in a moment. So here's my contact information. This is my personal cell phone number. We don't have a landline. And since I'm not in California, I don't have an office at CBU. So this is the phone number to reach me on. This is my personal number, so please use it with discretion. Remember that I'm 2 hours ahead of you. So when it's, 7 p.m. your time, it's 9 p.m. my time. Here's my email as well, and this is really the best way to get a hold of me, and I prefer email because all of our email has to go through the Cal Baptist, the Lancer Mail server, and so there's a record of everything, and that protects both you and me. So if you say, hey, well, you told me this, you can go back and find your emails and prove that I told you that, and vice versa. So it's just a way of kind of keeping our communication streamlined. And if you do need to call me, you're of course more than welcome to. Just if I don't answer, usually if I'm away from my office, I don't answer student phone calls just because I want to be able to be there by the material to be able to help you. So you can always schedule phone calls with me, which might be better. And if you call me, leave a voicemail, and I'll definitely make sure I get back to you when I'm in front of all your work and information, so I can kind of see what's going on there in the class. So office hours, since I don't have an office there at the university, we just do it by online, by appointment only. If you ever want to Skype or FaceTime, I'm more than welcome or willing to do that with you as well. So lots of ways to communicate. Again, email is definitely the best. I do my very, very best to get back to you within 24 hours. If it's been over 24 hours and I haven't emailed you back, do me a big favor and just send a follow-up email and say, hey, I'm just checking in to see if you got my last email. Sometimes they just slip through the cracks. I'm human. I get a lot of emails, and I miss them every once in a while. So I didn't do it intentionally. It just, kind of got by me somehow, and just follow up with me. That way I make sure that I'm on top of it. Because I hate when students say, oh, I emailed you a week ago and never heard anything, and then it was an assignment that was already due, and then it's kind of bad for both of us. So do your best to kind of, keep me on top of things, and I will do my best to keep on top of it as well. Okay, required text and resources. So there's a lot going on for this class. Because you're going to be drawing, you have to have materials. So hopefully by this point, you all already have your materials for this course. If you don't, you need to get on that ASAP, because for 8-week classes, we get going day 1 and we jump in. So you want to make sure that you are ready to go. You can order your books here from Amazon, or they should be available in the campus store. So these are your 2 texts. It's by the same author. It's called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain as the text, and then there's an accompanying workbook, which is going to be our guide for most of the class. There will be assignments that are not in this workbook, but we're going to be doing a lot from the workbook. And I think it's just a great, great source. So many of my students at CBU are kind of more left-brained people. The degrees that you're pursuing are kind of those more logical, streamlined pursuits, and I think that's awesome. And so this is why I picked this specific textbook, because it's really going to help us open up that right side of the brain and remind us that, hey, these are muscles that we have to work out, and there are techniques that we can use to kind of open up that creative side. So you're not kind of just going in blind. We're really going to be diving into some pretty interesting stuff here. So lots of materials that you need. I recommend this Royal and Langnickel Deluxe Sketching Artist Box Set. They usually sell it at Michael's. You can order it on Amazon as well. Sometimes it's on sale on Amazon for a really good price. If you don't get this specific set, go ahead and look it up and see what's in it, because you want to get those materials. So you can kind of piece it together. You'll probably spend more that way. Usually the box sets end up being a little more affordable. And it's just going to give you a good starting kit for making art and making drawing. This one is directly correlated to drawing, and it's not going to, get you into painting or anything. They have other sets if you're interested in that. Okay, I recommend the Strathmore 400 series drawing paper pads. Again, if you notice that there's a star next to these are recommended. You can use similar products as long as they're, the same dimensions and have about the same amount of pieces of paper in them and they're spiral bound. You should be good. So they don't necessarily have to be these brands. They can be, similar brands as long as they kind of are going to get the job done in the same way. So there's some sketch paper that I want you to get. There's a Sharpie fine point, so there's real fine point Sharpies. You're going to want to get one of those, and some dry erase markers. There's tracing paper that you're going to need for a couple of assignments, including something in our first week. One drawing board. So this is something that can be improvised from a kitchen cutting board, a piece of foam board, a piece of masonite, for example, or a thick cardboard. So you can kind of, improvise on what you want to do for this. And the textbook talks about all of these materials actually in your week 1 reading that you're going to be doing. So I'm trying not to dive into too much detail, because you'll see it is on page 12. It gives you a good insight into what a lot of these materials are. You want to get some low-tack artist tape or similar. This can be masking tape even. You want to get 2 pieces of black cardstock that are 8 by 10 inches, and you can either cut these down yourself, or you could even go like to a Hobby Lobby or a Michael's or somewhere and have them cut them for you. You're just going to want to use these. A lot of the assignments in the workbook call for you using these to set up your work. And then you want to get a couple of binder clips, those black, kind of alligator binder clips. And that's just to secure your paper to your drawing board. It's going to help you, it gets really frustrating when you're trying to move things around. Or you're trying to draw and things are shifting a lot. So additional materials may be needed for some of these projects, but these are mostly household items, such as, scissors or a ruler. So I don't list them as, the materials you have to buy, because most likely you already have these things around the house. But these are always listed in the assignment instructions, so you'll know what you need. Okay, it's going to go over objectives, all that good stuff. I'll let you read through that on your own. And then it's going to talk about assignments. These are just overviews. So you're going to have a sketch journal that you're going to be working on throughout the course. You have basically about 10 sketches every 2 weeks to submit. I recommend doing half of that each week, so you're doing kind of 5 sketches each week. We used to have it, you had to draw 7 days a week, and I kind of cut that down. But the goal is to be drawing just about every day, because that's going to hone those fine motor skills, and it's going to build your consistency. And I guarantee you doing that will really help. Even if you think, gosh, these sketches are not very good, that's okay. It's about, using hand to paper, and that's going to make a big difference. These should only take about 15 minutes or so each time that you're sketching. You're going to have some copy assignments where we're going to be looking at the work of different artists and different assignments in the workbook, and you're going to be basically copying what you're seeing, because that's one way we learn to draw. We're going to be looking at artists like Van Gogh and Matisse, some pretty cool stuff going on there. And we'll, of course, go over these assignments in detail each week. And then you have create assignments where you're going to be creating from life or from your, creative brain. So these aren't going to be copying necessarily what the work of other artists, but you might be, drawing a room, or creating something in tessellations, which is a really fun project that we do. You're going to be drawing your hands, which I know is so intimidating, but we have some good techniques to help you with that. We're going to be doing still lifes. We're going to be doing cartoons. We're going to be doing portraits. We do a lot of cool stuff here. And then we have some discussions every couple weeks. It's just to kind of build that community, because learning doesn't take place in a vacuum, and you shouldn't be doing this completely on your own. And so we'll look at artists from Van Gogh to Walt Disney, and you're going to be watching some cool documentaries. And, it should kind of help you see where artists are coming from and where their techniques come from as well. So some cool discussions that we'll be doing. And then you have some critique and assess assignments, and these are very brief, but it's basically going to be you critiquing your work so that you can see, this is where I think I still need to grow. This is what I'm doing really well at, and be kind to yourself. While we want to, have critiques, not criticism, but critiques of what we're doing, we also want to see what we're doing right, okay? So I'm going to always be encouraging you in that. And then we have a really cool critical assignment that's going to have to do with biblical text. We're going to illustrate text, we're going to create original symbols, and we're going to do an imaginative drawing in the style of Leonardo da Vinci. So some cool stuff that we're going to be doing there, and there's a brief written reflection, but not a whole lot of writing going on in this class. We're mostly going to be drawing. So that is an overview of what we're going to be doing throughout the course. Your point distribution is as follows. So this is how it breaks down. This is liable to change, but most likely it won't. We should be pretty good with where we're at here. All of our classes are out of 1,000 points. We do a plus-minus grading system. One thing I will say that, sometimes if I've noticed that you've really been attentive, you've done, well in your critiques and given a lot of feedback and have, gotten everything submitted. If you're at, a 92.4% and you got that A-, I will most likely bump you up to an A. But that's kind of based on participation and all that stuff. So, make sure that you have a positive attitude, that you're participating and doing all your work. And, you might be bumped up that a little bit. And I know that can affect your GPAs. So something to keep in mind. Make sure you're checking grades often. I do my very best. You submit work on Mondays. It's always my goal to get all of your work done and graded to you by Fridays. That way, you kind of have the weekend to think about that and, apply any changes for that next week's work that's due then on Sunday night. So course schedule, again, courses start on Monday and weeks start on a Monday and on a Sunday night. If you see in this schedule, TB stands for the textbook, WK stands for workbook, and this is going to be a course schedule. This is liable to change, but most likely it should stay pretty much the same. You'll notice that there's no due dates here on this side. That's because everything is due Sunday nights at midnight, all session long for the first 7 weeks. Then we get to week 8, and your sketchbook, your critical assignment, and your final critique are not due on Sunday night. Your sketchbook and your critical assignment are due Friday night, so week 8, day 5. So that would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday is day 5, right? So we're going to be submitting that work on Friday. That way I have the weekend to get those graded and back to you to submit final grades on that next day, which is Monday. At 4 p.m. is when we have to get our final grades into the university, so I need that weekend to get those grades done. And then your final critique is due Saturday night, so it gives you a little bit of flexible room, to get that in as well. So just be keeping that in mind now from the beginning. Be prepared that come that final week, you need to make sure that you allow yourself some extra time during the week. If you're someone who always gets your work done on weekends, you're going to need to make sure that you get all that done by Friday and then Saturday night. Okay, it's going to talk about professionalism, regular effective contact, which we talked about already. Late assignments. There's a penalty of 10% of the graded value deducted for each day an assignment is late. So if you were to get 10 out of 10 on an assignment and it's 1 day late, it's already going down to 9 out of 10, right? I wish I didn't have to do this, but, we're all busy people, including me, and I have certain time in my schedule that I allot for grading, and when you submit work late, then I have to find other time in my schedule to get that work graded. And plus, it's just helpful for you to stay on top of your work. When students submit late work, I can almost say with 100% certainty that it's going to cause you more stress. Students who submit late work consistently are more stressed out, they don't perform as well in the class, and they don't like the class as much because they don't have a great experience because they haven't managed their time well. So make sure that you stay on top of work. Think ahead at the beginning of the week. Okay, these are the nights that I'm going to sit and draw. you might want to, realize about yourself. I tend to take a long time when I'm working in art. I take a long time on drawing. My husband is a phenomenal artist, and he's just whips things out like super fast. So I know that when I'm going to be working, I have to allot more time for myself than he does. So, after the first couple of weeks, you're going to see that, gosh, this is taking me a little bit longer. I need to make sure I give more time in my schedule to do these types of assignments. So you'll kind of, and sometimes you just have to realize, I got to move faster because I'm overthinking things, which is, I'm preaching to the choir here. So just keep all of that in mind. Extensions are granted on a case-by-case basis with my discretion. So this is what I ask in this case, and this is why it's important that you watch these announcements, because I tell you these little things. Just let me know before Sunday night if you're going to have work late. If, your kids are sick and throwing up, or your car breaks down, or you have a huge deadline at work, and you're just not going to be able to get this work in on time, email me, let me know what's going on, and say this is when I think I can get it done, and most likely 99% of the time I'm going to say that's fine. You can submit your work Tuesday night. I don't care. Then I know ahead of time what's going on, and we've kind of kept each other in the loop. So that's what I ask. But if you don't email me ahead of time and then it's Monday and you say, oh gosh, I wasn't able to get my work in on time, it's just not very considerate. So let me know ahead of time and I'm most likely to grant you an extension. Okay, it's going to talk about netiquette, so you can look at that section. Academic honesty. You would think in an art class, how would this really apply? But it does. Don't just copy your work. Don't trace things unless it's a tracing assignment. It's, I don't expect you guys to be professional artists. That's why you're taking a beginning drawing class, because you want to learn. And so, as long as I see that you're spending time on your work, that you're trying, most likely you're going to get a good grade on it. There's no reason for you to cheat and try and trace something. It's just kind of silly. And then you're not going to see progress in your own work, and it's just not a good idea. So let's just stay away from that, and we'll all be happy campers. Okay, there's a little blurb on students with disabilities. So if you have a documented disability and wish to arrange, some accommodations, you can contact Disability Services at this email address. I teach art classes, and the good thing is this class is pretty much all in black and white since we're working with ink and graphite most of the time. But I've had other classes where I have students say who are colorblind, and when you're, doing an art appreciation course and I'm expecting you to write about color theory, that could be something that, we have to work on. So just, you can email me discreetly, or you can talk to them and we will make sure that we work something out. So that is your syllabus. Your learning activities will look like this. Come on, computer, there we go. There's a link to the discussion boards at the top, and you'll notice that there's a introductions board. Please go in there and just post a brief introduction about yourself to me and your peers, so we can just get to know you a little bit. So do that this week if you don't mind. This Q&A, I prefer you don't use it because I don't remember to check it, to be honest. I'd rather you email me if you have a question about the course, and students don't use this very often anyway, but if you do and then it's been 2 weeks and I didn't know that you posted in there, because I'm human and I forget to check this one. So just send me emails instead of using this. And then, your discussion boards will all be in here, but these are all linked in the learning activities as well. So you don't really have to go into this very often. And so they look like this. There's, a module for each week of class. And I won't dive into these too much right now because I'm going to go over in this next video your week 1, which is what we're going to dive into. So any questions just about the course in general, please let me know, and I'm excited to get started with you guys.